Hey Wargamers, today I want to talk about the Tau Tidewall fortification. It's a special type of fortification available only to Tau, and it has some interesting rules associated with it. Before we do that though, I want to say thanks for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. That way you don't miss any of my upcoming unit reviews, battle reports, or hobby videos for 8th edition. Alright, so I'm going to be working out of Index Xenos 2 here. All three components of the Tidewall have a similar stat line. They have a movement of 6 inches, they have toughness 6 or 7 depending on what part you're talking about, and then they have 10 wounds with a 4-up save. So you can kind of think about it as a slightly tougher group of 10 fire warriors without guns. Sure, we'll go with it that way, because that's actually a fairly good benchmark for the usefulness of each of these units. Think about whether or not it is more or less useful than having 10 additional fire warriors. So keep that in the back of your mind. There are 3 parts, like I mentioned: the drone port, the shield wall, and the gun rig. And each one of those have slightly different rules, but for the most part they all have the same basic rules, making them basically function as transports. So they have a transport capacity of 10. They can carry any number of Tau infantry characters and then 1 unit of infantry up to 10 models. They explode if you kill them, and they're a mobile defense platform that's open-topped, meaning that it moves only if units are embarked on it, and the units that are embarked on it can shoot out of it. So I've been asked to address, like, how do you deal with the rampart having positions for models to actually sit on it? How do you deal with that and reconciling the transport capacity? Basically, ignore the fact that the drone port or any part of the Tidewall can actually fit models on it. You can say the same thing about a wagon for orcs or a raider for Dark Elder. You can put physical models in there, but it doesn't matter. You have the transport capacity that is stated. So you can't put models like in the raider and then say that there are other models embarked on it and have like 2 units moving around, anything like that. No, get that out of your mind. It's basically just a transport. Don't be concerned about the fact that models can physically fit inside of it or not. That's irrelevant. You can do that for aesthetics, but you can't do that for any type of gameplay advantage, anything like that. So don't even think about it. All right, so let's go through the utility of each of these 3 parts individually here. The drone port basically is what it sounds like. It comes with 4 tactical drones. Most people are going to use this for marker drones, and I think that's really the only thing that even makes sense to put in there is marker drones. And then they will fire automatically if there's no one embarked on the vehicle. But if there is someone embarked on the vehicle, those drones immediately detach and become their own unit. And then they use the ballistic skill of the embarked unit. So what you can do here is put a fire blade in the drone port and have 4 marker drones that have a 2-up to hit. It's a way to get 2-up marker lights, which you normally couldn't do in the current rule set. In the past, you used to be able to put a drone controller on a commander and get 2-up marker lights. Now you can do it with a drone port. Of course, there are alternatives, like a Fireblade himself. He has a marker light, and you could get marker lights that way for 2-up. So it's not the only way to get a 2-up marker light, but it is an option if you want to do that. The shield line, basically, anytime a unit has a roll of a 6 on a armor save while embarked on it, will take it will give a mortal wound to the shooter. So if you have a unit of 10 fire warriors embarked on it, and they get shot by a bunch of shootas, and one of them makes a 6-up save, then that unit of boys takes a wound. And that's nice, but yeah, we'll talk about some of the reasons why that's not amazing in a minute. But the strategy here is basically put your fire warriors on the shield wall and have it move around. It basically gives them a layer of protection while allowing them to still shoot, unlike a devilfish where they gain that level of protection but they can't shoot out of it. So this is a way to protect your fire warriors while still allowing them to shoot. The gunrig is the third option. It comes equipped with a supremacy rail rifle, which does not go on the supremacy armor from Forge World. It goes on the gunrig here. It is a 72-inch range, heavy 2, strength 10, -4, d6 damage railgun that does mortal wounds if you get a 6. And that's good. That's actually a really good weapon, but it still has a ballistic skill of 5 up. So the strategy here is just that it's a cheap railgun. Yeah, and each of these units has, you know, the utility that I described. You can use droneport to get 2-up marker light drones. You can use a shield wall to protect fire warriors, and you can use a gun rig to have a cheap railgun on the board. But each one of these has a critical flaw in it, and that's when we compare the points value to like a unit of 10 fire warriors or something. You know, fire warriors are a little bit more expensive. A unit of 10 fire warriors would be 80 points, and most of these are 70 points base, not including any weapons. Hint, hint. But really, when we look at the cost of each of these components, they just don't meet expectations. They're subpar for the cost. The drone port, yes, you get 2-up marker lights, but for a similar cost, you can take you know, you can take an extra fire blade or 2 fire blades. So there's that. You get the extra abilities from the fire blade aside from that, or you could take like 7 more marker light drones for the cost of the drone port itself, and that's going to be better in most cases. You get the extra savior protocols, you get the extra wounds, you get the mobility. So the drone port is good, it's fine, but I would rather have 7 more marker light drones than a drone port. The shield line, I would just have more fire warriors. You know, the mortal wound only applies if they get an armor save, right? So if they're getting shot with some high AP weapons, it's not even going to matter because you can't, you know, you're not going to take your roll, so you can't you can't actually do it. And then I would just rather have more fire warriors. I'd rather have double the number of shots than, you know, trying to protect some fire warriors. I think it doesn't really make sense to me that you would invest in a shield wall when you could just take more fire warriors and get more shooting power and the same number of wounds. So there's that. And then the gun rig, it only fires at the nearest target unless manned, so you have to put something in it, which isn't terrible, but it still only moves 6 inches, and if it moves, it's -1 to hit. So you're still not really doing that much with this one railgun. And for a similar cost as the Tidewall, you could almost get long strike, which is way better. Long strike is far superior to a gun rig, so I'd rather have long strike than the gun rig. And if I already have long strike, I'd rather have another hammerhead than the gun rig. So I think the gun rig really loses out to a standard hammerhead in that result. So all these things, they have some utility, but I think there are better options for each of them. Either taking more drones, taking more fire warriors, or taking just hammerheads are going to be a better way to go in most cases. So yeah, there's that. I like them. I think it's a really cool model, but they just don't have what it takes to really compete with all the other options that you have. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're using a gun rig and it's saved the game for you every single time, let me know. But if you're not using them because of the reasons I described, I understand that too. So thanks for watching, and of course, happy wargaming.